Hello, it's me, Just I've said it. I'm going to do a match video analysis on Lucifer. But first, I'm going to talk about the other things that this channel has. Usually I do this at the end of the video. It seems really silly to me to go and do a 20-minute video that no one in their right mind is going to watch, and then have all the announcements at the end of it. You should be getting excited right now, and I'll tell you what to get excited about. When I get to 100 subs, we're going to have a community tournament open to everybody on Advanced Wars by Web. There's going to be a huge prize pool, but I don't want to tell you anything more about it until I get to 100 subs, so we'll do that. I have a video coming this weekend. It'll be edited content, scripted, edited content, real YouTuber stuff, not whatever I'm doing now. Whenever Sonja the Superior finishes one of their games, I'm going to review it. But Sonja the Superior is in like a million games, and they're all on Fog or High Funds, and none of them are finishing. They're massive games. It's going to take forever to do. It'll be really hard. It'll be really cool. Sonja the Superior is a really good player. Looking out for that. Other than that, other things in the pipeline. Something from Grimy Grime Gang. Whatever you guys want. If you guys have like a cool video that you, or a cool match replay that you want me to do a video on, I'm more than happy to do it. But today, Lucifer. And the replay is Rathael, a player I do not know, but is highly rated, above 1,000, and JaxxRaptor, who is a Sonja player, mostly. We've got more than 50 games of Sonja. I would have to assume that they're somebody's Smurf or alt, because this person is really, really good at Advanced Wars and winning games that they have no business winning playing Sonja. So we'll take a look at this. The map, like I've said multiple times, is Lucifer. Lucifer is one of the maps that was recently added into standard rotation. I did a video on it. I will have to review that video later, but for now, suffice it to say that it is a 3-base map, normal 2-base, 1-base airport setup. Then it's got the ports in the center that are surrounded by shoals that are really aesthetically pleasing. These look really nice. Well done to the map designer who thought this was a cool thing to put on a map. They were absolutely right, it is. There's a mountain range that more or less divides the map, splitting it into vaguely 3 fronts. One front has this comm tower, or rather 2 fronts have this comm tower, and they're very close to the forward base for each player. And the center front, which is these 4 cities and 2 ports, and we're just past the center front is each player's HQ, and these are broken up by the mountains on each side. So difficult to make aggressive plays on it, it feels like. Might just be about walling up on this center spot and slowly pushing forward. So, JaxxRaptor making this obligate move to get the neutral base early. Moving straight forward like this is actually marginally better than what Rathael did. Rathael moved slightly towards this base. There's no sense in doing that because going from here gives you these 3 options. Your opponent might at least think about you doing something else, but why nitpick? See, now I don't know if this is going to capture the city or the comm tower, and the same for JaxxRaptor. There was no telling. There was telling what this would do. What this would do. Are these mirrors? No. Rathael does not have a troop that he sent to this forest to move on to this neutral property. Instead, Rathael's more focused on getting the comm tower, it looks like. Sonja is superior, or, JaxxRaptor is going for the, city here. It's sort of interesting, because you would, like, I think that Rathael's strategy is probably to cap the airport and then the city with the same infantry. And then maybe even this city with that infantry. And maybe even that city with that infantry. I don't know. That would take too long. Okay, this is actually really interesting. So, Rathael had the first tank last turn, which is normal. Built it from the defensive base, which I'm not sure if is normal or not. And in response, JaxxRaptor chose not to build a tank or an artillery, but to build a mech. This mech could live on the mountains here, I suppose, and then come down when it needs to fight. But I don't know what the big idea is with this mech. We'll have to see. It seems really, really strange to be so, conservative. Like, I don't even think of this as a conservative play, because the mech could just be a waste. Mechs are often just a waste. They can't move anywhere. They can't do any aggressive plays. They're completely defensive units. You only can use them to protect things that you park them beside. They can't move anywhere unless you get an APC, which is going to be more of an investment than a tank. So there's nothing particularly conservative about it. It's just extremely defensive. But then again, what is JaxxRaptor defending? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, there's a replay bug where it won't display that JaxxRaptor's infantry has lost HP when it's Rathael's turn. Yeah, so this is correct. Okay, this is some good maneuvering. The infantry that Rathael sent to interrupt this capture is now really hurting compared to JaxxRaptor's. This is not a good trade for Rathael, except, I suppose, delaying this for some number of turns. JaxxRaptor builds a tank on the left side. This is a defensive side tank as well, so these tanks are similar to one another. So Rathael now has an aggressive side tank. It's far, far forward compared to the defensive tank that the player whose HQ is on this side can produce. But that's an advantage for JaxxRaptor having produced first, is that they can match the tank movements. But this tank is kind of in a pickle now, because anywhere traditional that it moves to be useful, like this forest or this comm tower, this tank is going to be able to react. Okay, so now JaxxRaptor has an aggressive side tank building from the back base. Not so sure about that. I don't know. I really don't know. That's really, really... Why not build it from here? Maybe because he thinks that this base is easier to support the middle with, which is maybe true. This area, this bottom area. JaxxRaptor, despite having been interrupted on capping like 2 turns now, basically, is still ahead in income. That's pretty significant. I suppose this mech is working out because Rathael's not been attacking stuff. I just noticed that JaxxRaptor built a super late recon, and God knows why. This is not the first time this has happened. I've been puzzled by these late game recons. I say late, but it's really a mid game. It's late for a recon, because if you don't build a recon in the first couple turns, then it generally doesn't do a whole lot. JaxxRaptor's also got a B-copter. And so does Rathael now. So... what is this recon going to do? Okay, so the recon moves up and it doesn't one-shot, but it completely wipes out a group of infantry. And it opens the field so that if the only thing that can make a counterattack on this recon effectively is this tank, and the tank could just destroy it. This tank can absolutely demolish the recon. But the issue with that is that if the tank wants to stay safe from the counterattack of both a tank and a B-copter, then it'll be pretty difficult. There's not a good way for that to happen. The artillery would move up, but then there's the combination of the tank and the battlecopter behind that will not sufficiently protect this artillery. And that makes this tank a little bit worried. Now, is that worth the 4,000? We'll find out. I didn't even see this tank. I still think it's going to run into the issue of the battlecopter moving sideways in, and this tank just rushing the artillery. There's Rathael's second battlecopter and an anti-air. The anti-air will not be able to punish this B-copter play that I talked about. I think it might have been able to if it was pretty sure here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not quite. Interesting. I didn't expect... oh, okay. No, I didn't expect this. This is such a weird pattern of attack. I'm going to go from the beginning. Okay, so. There's this tank over here in the middle, and it can reach the tank in the forest. So rather than try to produce a board state where JaxxRaptor is able to kill this artillery. JaxxRaptor's goal is to completely avoid this artillery, and instead just reduce Rathael to having no full health tanks, or to have rather 2 very low health tanks, because 4 isn't a lot. So starts by capping this. That's good. Starts by taking this from Rathael. So the income lead is now in JaxxRaptor's favor. This is a safe move to make in the context of the artillery cannot do anything to stop this. This tank comes from the middle to make a shot on it, and now this tank, if it wants to, can be in this plains, whereas if the helicopter had been here, then it wouldn't be possible for the tank to avoid the artillery. JaxxRaptor tries to attack this, but bad luck can just ruin Sonja here. And it looks like it does. But I mean, a 4 health tank and a 1 health tank, like this, I don't even have a full tank between the two of them. And so the full health tank that JaxxRaptor has just goes and starts pestering units that are trying to make their caps. Okay, so more weird stuff. Not a huge surprise. JaxxRaptor builds an anti-air. That's relatively normal. You can have an anti-air defend 2 fronts. Have one anti-air defend a front and a half, and another anti-air defend a front and a half. And then an infantry. Infantry always useful. And JaxxRaptor builds a recon. Again, super late. And that's the end of their turn. So this artillery is taking refuge here so that JaxxRaptor cannot start to capture this neutral city. I don't think that JaxxRaptor really wanted to capture that neutral city so bad right now. Just being honest, I don't think that was something that JaxxRaptor found super interesting. This is a little bit rough to get to, especially with the anti-air back and the battlecopter here. This is a good defensive formation all in all. This is a good break of units. It's a smart use of these tanks, not trying to heal them up as much as just use them as blockers. And Rathael has 2 more tanks that they've built on the aggressive side. So, trying to push back. Going to try to be pushing back. But this makes me wonder what JaxxRaptor is going to do here, because they're probably just going to find a way around these units completely. It seems like it's just going through the middle. It's worth, like I said, this is Rathael's aggressive side. So in fact, this isn't, these being back on Rathael's side of the aggressive side, they don't do anything. Just JaxxRaptor moving units onto the right here will give him enough of an advantage to push onto the HQ and win. And right now, it looks like JaxxRaptor is using an anti-air to just mow down an infantry on that aggressive side of theirs. This is interesting, using this 4 HP infantry to draw an artillery attack. Obviously, Rathael doesn't want this infantry to continue to cap, but also JaxxRaptor isn't expecting it to finish. It just draws a artillery fire and that means that the artillery isn't able to move. And if the artillery isn't able to move, then Rathael's going to be in a little bit of a sorry shape. Ha! I really wonder how much HP this is at from a 4 shot. From a 4 HP tank shot and a 1 HP tank shot that it just completely repelled. Okay, so this battlecopter is basically safe. It's at 6 HP. This is recon, like, is this recon really good? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable building recons like this one. What good came out of this? It kind of killed the tank. Kind of, not really. It was able to get to the front super fast, which is good. An infantry would not have been able to get to the front as fast as this recon did. But it ended up just taking a bunch of shots. It's not done... I mean, how much is 700? It's not done its value in damage yet. Okay, so... on the left side, JaxxRaptor taking a defensive position. Decently strong. Anti-air's protecting most of the valuable units in the area. Really all the valuable units in the area. The tank is ready to back up whatever tries to come down this alley onto the HQ. HQ is covered. That's really good. Really good idea. On the right side, still making aggressive plays. Still has this anti-air ready to mow down infantry. I really like this. You know, like one of the easy ways to kill mechs is with battlecopters. Can't do it with the anti-air around. It just makes the like there's just a bunch of infantry in this area, and all this anti-air's done is just shoot them, and it's really effective. It's more effective at tanks than doing it. This tank is here. It's going to be there to defend the AA gun. The artillery that was just recently built is also going to have a similar role. JaxxRaptor is getting very close to Rathael's HQ, and truthfully, Rathael is not that close to lightning strike. Wow, what a devastating counter break. Like, this could have been a good turn for Rathael. This upcoming turn could have been good for Rathael. Because these comps are really far forward, but at 5 HP, it can't attack into counter break battlecopters, it doesn't feel. It's not going to be able to do enough. Nothing here. Yeah, this artillery can't make an attack. This tank doesn't want to attack. The tank doesn't want to attack the mech. If the tank doesn't attack the mech, or if the tank didn't attack the mech, then it would have to attack like this other tank. But it can't really do that now. Like this just feels so hard to deal with. So, more defense on Rathael's aggressive side. But again, that's like not precisely the point. This mech is not going to be able to do enough. Like, this is... If Rathael doesn't use these tanks to, like, end the game, basically within the next turn, it's going to be really, really hard. And Rathael isn't making enough money and income to produce, like, a medium tank or something that he could just park on the HQ and let it stay there. Okay, so this is a lightning strike turn. What happens? Okay, that was good. It doesn't feel like Rathael is totally out of it on the left side of the map. On the right side of the map, still probably not good enough. Probably should have parked something on his HQ. Because, yeah, JaxxRaptor is starting to cap now. This artillery is in a position where it can do... It's going to be able to stop whatever is going to try to hit JaxxRaptor off of the HQ. And, in fact, JaxxRaptor is just moments away from building a second counter break. The only thing that can hit this infantry right now is another infantry. It's not enough. I'm honestly surprised that JaxxRaptor didn't try just like throwing some of this stuff at Rathael to build the counter break. There's the counter break, and yeah, there's just got to be stuff on top of the HQ. If this tank goes here, then I think it's over. Yeah, I think it's over. He must just resign. It doesn't show any moves. So, I think that's it. I think it's just over now. Sure seems over. There doesn't seem to be anything that Rathael could do. That's super good play. It's not easy for Sonja to beat Eagle. So, this cap phase ended up a lot better for JaxxRaptor than it did for Rathael. So that's like a first issue. JaxxRaptor was able to take this, and it's sort of interesting that like the only thing that JaxxRaptor really had built from this right side, this aggressive side of his, was this mech, and this mech just it kept all the vehicles away, I suppose, which is what it's intended to do. Rathael was not willing to attack into it. I think that this has been talked about. You can't trade favorably into these. Like, yeah, this is like just not good. You don't want to do this. If the mech is on a mountain, you can't really do anything. So now this mech is protecting all these infantry, and there's nothing except throw infantry at this block that Rathael can do. Rathael would have to build like an anti-air and then kill one infantry and then go in and hit the mech with the anti-air. I bet this works. Yeah. Like that's kind of what you gotta do, is have like an anti-air take it out. I don't even think that, like, this isn't quite enough. This is probably good enough. It's probably, I mean, the 1 or 2 HP mech isn't going to do a whole lot, but it's not going to literally kill it. See, even this isn't, like, that good. You don't want to try this. I don't know. This mech ended up being really, really good for JaxxRaptor. I don't know that I would have the confidence of a mech that I built from that base being as successful as that, but I'm willing to give it a try. Other than that, knowing how far to push your defensive side out, and knowing when not to go too deep on the defensive side was also really, really important. JaxxRaptor managed it really well. Played around this artillery's range super, super nicely. This artillery, yeah, fired, but it didn't do anything important all game. I think that maybe the recons that we saw from JaxxRaptor were related to the necessity to destroy infantry that acted as blockers, so that Rathael was not able to move up. Situations like this, where there was a lot of infantry, the recon served to thin them out just a small amount. There's probably better ways of doing that. I don't think that the recons are necessary. Maybe one day I'll learn about how they are, but for now, I think that I'm done looking at this game. It's really interesting. JaxxRaptor is a menace. Being able to do so much with Sonja, it's very, very commendable. Really cool to watch. So, I made all the announcements in the beginning. I don't have to do them at the end. Good luck.